Hi there, it's Adam bringing you another video to the channel. We are continuing the 21-22 UK Model Airport series in 1/400 scale. The last couple of weekends I've missed. The first weekend that I missed was down to sort of how warm it was. Sort of lacking motivation with the temperatures. Not only that, but feeling like I was sweating quite a bit. I didn't want to be dripping sweat all over my models or the display or anything like that, so I thought no, I'm better off not doing that. And then obviously going into the week I realised I'm going to miss next weekend as well, and the reason for that was because I was actually at Manchester Airport. To be honest, since I left Doncaster Airport, since that closed, I've not been to any airport. I've been to airfields, well, I say airfields, one airfield, Sandtoft, but I've not been to any sort of major airports since I left my job at the airport at Doncaster. But the idea was to go to the Royal International Air Tattoo Show, but the only availability really was on Sunday, which I didn't really want to do, because I saw like a trip where you could do like basically like a 3-day, go Friday, come back Sunday, and obviously the main day would have been Saturday. They were fully booked, and I decided, if we're going to do it, better off maybe doing it next year. From what I've heard though, some of the comments I've seen, it's not been as good as what it has been previous years, so maybe that was a good thing. I'm not sure generally how the weather was down there, because I know when we were looking at the weekend, it looked like, obviously Manchester Airport being near the Pennines, we thought, oh no, this is going to be maybe not the best weekend. It looked like we were going to be chucking it down quite a bit, but the weather was actually not too bad, and the little bit of rain we did have was actually quite accommodating. It wasn't too heavy, certainly not, and it's kind of like that rain that you kind of welcome, just to kind of feel a bit more cooler. But yeah, a great experience. Stayed for one night in the Radisson Blu. We did book the sort of runway view room, which they have multiple of. I'll be honest, the first room they give us was not great. You literally just seen the back, like the like Terminal 2, and that's all you could really see apart from things flying about in the background. Then we did actually change rooms, and they put us basically further down the corridor to the left, and I think, was it like maybe 2 floors higher. So yeah, it was a lot better. There is, I've done like sort of videos and posted photos and such of what I've caught. I did capture a lot more, but I've kind of cut it down to kind of like the best highlights on one of my other YouTube channels. But yeah, a great experience. I think going into Terminal 2, seeing how that was, and yeah, I don't know, I think just the whole vibe of people flying away, going on holiday, people checking in, all that kind of stuff was yeah, it made me miss working at Doncaster Airport a little bit more. Kind of made me think, what, I could easily work at Manchester, like if I lived in Manchester or near to the airport. But yeah, at the minute I'm doing what I'm doing. But yeah, like I say, overall great experience. We sort of ventured to each terminal really around the airport, and sort of within where the terminals are though. We went up to the car parks, had a look, see what we could see from there, and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, the hotel, overall was very, very accommodating. I think if you want to get that view, certainly. Yeah, it's certainly not a bad point of view, especially if if you get the room that we had, or maybe even further down, which you may have to pay a little bit more for. I'm not sure, but yeah, overall a great experience. Which is why, like I said, the last couple of weekends I've missed doing these updates. This update as well is going to be kind of like in 2 phases. It's going to be one video but in 2 parts, sort of between 10 and 11. In terms of the scheduled time period. So we're going to get underway with this first part of the update, which is more towards 10 o'clock, and then the following phase will be sort of more towards 11 o'clock. So starting off with the Ryanair 737-800 that we can see in view. Operating as FR8142, registration Echo India Delta Charlie Lima. This is heading out to NOC, or we'll be pretty much getting ready for departure. And then if we zoom out, a couple of 787 Dreamliners. So the one taxiing out is the Air Europa 787-8, registration Echo Charlie Mike India Golf, heading back out to Madrid as UX1014. And then positioning on the stand that the Air Europa has just vacated is this Norse UK 787-9 Dreamliner, registration Golf Charlie Kilo Oscar Foxtrot, heading out to coming in from Orlando as Z0784, and then we'll transition across with the first TUI 787-9, registration Golf Tango Uniform India Lima. This will be heading as BY184 to Punta Cana. And then next to that we have of course another TUI 787-9, registration Golf Tango Uniform India Mike. This is heading out to Cancun as BY142. A little bit of information: these aircraft have actually switched sort of destinations. So originally it would have been the other way around, where they were flying to, but yeah, a little bit of a change in which frame we'll be operating which route. Pushing back behind those two in the distance there, we have the Virgin Atlantic A330-300, registration Golf Victor Sierra X-Ray Yankee, heading out to Orlando as VS73. The CMA CGM Air Cargo A330 200 freighter is still on the deck as well, arriving from Liège as KF852, which will be later heading out to Hong Kong, also as KF852. And then positioning in, we have this Kalitta 747-400F, registration N744CK, arriving from Leipzig, and we'll be heading out to Los Angeles as CKS 330. And that is the part of the update, focusing on more towards the 10 o'clock period. We will now transition towards 11 o'clock. So we've now transitioned towards 11 o'clock, following on from the first phase of the video. Of course, some movements, given turnaround times, will transition into this phase as well. Other movements obviously will be new. That's always important to do, because I felt like, given the jump from 10 o'clock to sort of the next update, which will be 1 o'clock, there's a few movements in there what kind of would have been missed. Some aircraft that we maybe might see in the future, or that we've already seen in other updates as well, but I think it's kind of the whole basis of me doing these updates is kind of like to keep the flow going and kind of creating a storyline of the movements, in a sense, in each update. So of course we'll start off on the far side this time with some of the movements we already are kind of familiar with. Of course, we've got the Kalitta Air 747-400, registration N744 Charlie Kilo, operating as CKS 330. More on the sort of departure side of turnaround now, which we're heading out to Los Angeles. Taxiing out, we have the CMA CGM Cargo A330-200F. This is obviously heading out to Hong Kong as KF852. And then we have the TUI 787-9 Dreamliner, registration Golf Tango Uniform India Lima, be heading out to Punta Cana as BY184. Again, probably sort of half an hour or so away from departure at this point. Arriving in, where the other two E787 would have positioned, is this Emirates 777-300ER, registration Alpha 6 Echo Papa Papa, arriving from Dubai as EK35. And beyond that, filling in where the A330 was, we have a Virgin Atlantic 7879 Dreamliner, registration Golf Victor November Echo Whiskey, arriving from Seattle as VS106. Then we have the Norse UK 789. We advised this was operating as Z0784 on the inbound from Orlando, heading out at 7:01 to New York, registration Golf Charlie Kilo Oscar Foxtrot. Then beyond that we have a couple of narrow body aircraft, pretty much a wide body heavy in this update, but we do have a couple of narrow bodies. The Air France E190, Air France HOP E190, registration Foxtrot Hotel Bravo Lima Romeo, it's getting ready for departure back to Paris. And then beyond that we have EasyJet A321neo, registration Golf Uniform Zulu Mike Charlie, arriving from Munich as U28982 and going back out to on a departure to Nice as U28353. And that concludes the video. So a little bit of a transition there to give you an idea between the hours of 10 and 11 in sort of two phases. Of course we'll continue in the next weekend with the next update around about 1 o'clock period, which we'll probably see a bit more change. But again, thanks for watching, and of course thanks for the patience over the last couple of weeks that I've missed. But yeah, we should be getting back into the routine again going forward in the coming weeks.